All right, so again, our company is AccuSystems. We are a company based in Pueblo, Colorado. We've actually been in business since July of 2002. We've been doing banking software for community banks, and at this point in time, with our 10 years plus experience that we have over 250 community banks using our products, 120 of those specifically using AccuAccount products. Our customer base also has increased over the years, ranging from banks with $100 million in asset size to over $4 billion in asset size. And the bank actually, our primary customer using this interface is a $4 billion asset size bank. So this is actually a pretty big deal for our customers and for us as well. So it's a very exciting time for everyone. We also are a pretty diverse company. We're distributed both locally and across the globe. We employ a very diverse group of individuals. So I just kind of wanted to throw that out there. We have so you can see our AccuSystems group that we have there, and we also our development team that eventually produced the AFR interface. So you guys can kind of see who we are and what we're about, and kind of put some faces to the name of the company. All right, so with that said, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to let Doug Winkler, he is actually with AFR. We're going to go ahead and let him kind of talk a little bit about himself and what AFR is about before I proceed with the rest of the webinar. So I want to introduce Doug Winkler.
I think I heard Dave start to mention that we are based in Plano, Texas, but first I'd like to say we're excited to be a partner, I should say, with AccuSystems, and we're excited to be a part of your webinar. We feel like this integration brings a lot of added value to your program, and again, we're just excited to be a part of it. Just a little bit about AFR, as Dave started to explain. We're based in Plano, Texas, and we do serve about 1,000 lenders across the country. We're very much community lender based, as is AccuSystems. But we started out in 1992 as American Flood Research, Inc., and over the years have had other needs from our customers in the way of risk management, so we've kind of bundled a few services together, but flood is very much a core competency for our company. And what separates AFR, we believe, from our competition is the accuracy of our information and the level of customer service. We're also an NFDA, that's the National Flood Determination Association certified flood company. We just went through this process in this past May, and we do this about every 2 years, and only 3, maybe 4 companies achieved that recognition this past May. So we want you to know that we are audited by a third-party company that comes in, hired by the NFDA, and they look at different standards that we keep in regards to accuracy, quality control, disaster recovery, and things of that like. So we want you to know that that is what you'd be getting with AFR. And some contact information, if you want to know more about us, you can certainly email us or call us at this 1-800 number.
Okay.
Dave, if you want to advance to the next slide, we can talk a little bit about, as I mentioned, accuracy is what separates us from our others in our industry, I should say, and customer service. And this is probably the biggest thing that separates us is this tool right here. We do not over-automate the research process. We certainly use technology to its fullest, but a good example of over-automation is MapQuest. I'm sure many of you have used MapQuest where you keyed in a street address and up comes, for example, the letter A as it comes up here on this map, and that's on the street level. But you can see bounded in red is really where your destination would be. That's the subject property. So MapQuest doesn't always get you where you need to be. You can be a block away from where you should be. You could be several blocks away from where you should be. And flood research is really no different. If you over-automate that process, those types of errors can happen. So our systems are designed to combine the best, we think, of technology with a research analyst or specialist to compensate for when errors can creep up in automation when it comes to mapping, and a research analyst will come in and determine exactly where that structure is located and make the correct determination. So there's a lot more involved, but at least gives you a thumbnail sketch of what we might do differently. But this is what we call a validation map, and it's what we would give to a borrower or a loan officer or you as a lender if you had a question on how a determination was made. Anytime a property is near or bordering a special flood hazard area, we have one of these validation maps drawn up and archived right up front on the initial determination, so that when those questions do crop up, we can provide these working or validation maps to you. So Dave, that's just kind of a quick thumbnail sketch of who we are and what kind of separates us. But again, this is about the automation that you guys can provide through your systems.
So let's kind of move into the actual original problem that was presented to us by some of our bigger customers and why we really ventured into building AFR as an interface in AccuAccount. And really the original issue was that to get these flood certificates, our customers would have to log into a web portal. They would have to fill this information out in the web portal manually, and there might be a lot of information that they have to place in there. And then they would have to place an order for this flood determination, and then they would have to wait for it, check the status of it, and eventually receive the order. So very manual process. Once the order actually came through, they would be able to download the actual document image locally to their workstation, but they would often have to rekey information from that order into AccuAccount, so they had that in the imaging system, as well as manually upload the image into AccuAccount themselves. So again, very manual process. Did work, but we kind of got with AFR and wondered how could we make this process better for our customers, how could we streamline it and make it really, really easy. So the solution that we came up with was actually kind of really interesting. We actually modified our AccuAccount product, so when you're looking at a collateral in our imaging system, you actually can now go into a two-step process. One, really all you have to do is edit the collateral, and number two, you can actually set these new values on what we call our AFR export fields. You can set the state to ordered, which will kick off the AFR interface process and allow the AFR interface to go and grab your document for you. And what that will do is at the end of the day, that will actually give you a document in AccuAccount, so you actually get your flood determination certificate, which once you receive that, you can immediately open and view that document right within AccuAccount. So again, just a two-step process. You really don't have to fill out any manual information. We actually automate that whole process for you. So really at the end of the day, you're just setting the value of the drop-down and receiving your document. All right. Now, again, after we presented the solution to you, I kind of wanted to just show a comparison of the original process that some of our customers had to go through at the end of the day to get the flood certificates and their documents and that additional information, and then the new process that we built. And you can see that we've eliminated quite a bit of manual work that the banks would normally have to do. It actually expedites the process. And again, I do want to thank AFR for working with us to produce this solution. But very streamlined, very quick, very easy for your end users. All right, so I do want to take some time to actually go through and answer a couple different questions that we've received from some people during the webinar. Again, the solution that we built, very, very straightforward. The first question, Doug, I'll actually defer to you. We had one question from one of our banks. Is that certificate a life of loan?
Yes, we do issue both a basic or one-time determination, if you will, or a life of loan certificate. And probably I would say 99% of our customers do order a life of loan certificate where we are notifying the lender of any map changes that result in a status change, as we call it, where property may have gone from in a flood zone to out of a flood zone or out in a flood zone. So yes, we do provide life of loan.
Okay, awesome. And then we had a couple of other questions. One, what happens if the interface does not work? And really, I'm gonna go back to our slide where we actually demonstrate the flex fields that we bring through from AFR. They send us additional information. Again, there's a wide variety of pieces that we support to bring in. Some of those are actually a result of the request that's sent to AFR. So if at any given point in time, AFR is either still processing your document or your request, we will actually show a pending status right in AccuAccount, so you can check that there. Once the request is completed and the document is brought in, you'll actually know that the result will be stored as well. And if something did go wrong, maybe either the service didn't process correctly or maybe we had a technical issue on our end, we actually will store a resulting message in AccuAccount for you to see, which helps both your bank as well as AccuSystems. So we make sure that no matter what happens, we do have information about that interface. All right, another question is what other types of interfaces do we integrate with? We've actually integrated with quite a few different entities. One of them is ICG. We also integrate with MortgageBot, B2B, Stria, as well as Decision Pro. And we're always also looking for other vendors to integrate with as well. We want to expand our capabilities and provide awesome solutions to all of our customers. So that's definitely a big thing for us. All right, another question. Our flood determinations are housed on the AccuAccount loan level and are pulled on a per account basis and not at the collateral level. Will this still work for us? Yes, our interface is actually configurable, so you can configure whether it's the loan level or the collateral level, where this interface works from. So that will work. Could we receive a copy of this presentation? We are recording this presentation, so everyone will have access to that, and we will actually send out the PowerPoint presentation to everyone who joined this webinar. So if you have other people at your bank that you would like to share that with, absolutely. Yeah, and again, will this work at the collateral level or the loan level? Again, that was another question from another bank. Again, that is configurable in our interface. So that will work at both levels. All right, another question, where does this document go in AccuAccount? So you guys actually have the choice to configure in AccuAccount through our administration pages which document group and tab you would like the flood certificates to import to at the end of the day. So we don't constrain you to any specific configuration. That's your choice at the bank to make that decision on how that works best for you guys. Okay. What is the cost associated with the project? So we're actually, we'll get into that here in just a second. We take one more question and then we'll kind of wrap up.
What about the paid off process?
Yeah, what about the paid off process? Paying off a life loan determination within AFR, will I still have to go into AFR to do this? Doug, I can kind of defer that question to you. Basically, at the end of the day, our AFR interface will automate the process of filling in a form and processing that request and bringing the document back into AccuAccount. In terms of a paid-off process for a life of loan determination, is there anything that the bank would still have to do on your end?
Yeah, what they would want to do in that case, Dave, is there's a couple of options, really. One is you may want to give us that kind of information on a quarterly basis, monthly basis, whatever frequency you want to, but you could send us simply an email. It could have an Excel spreadsheet or something, and just listing the loans that you wanted, or certificates that you wanted to be treated as paid off, and we would do that for you. The other option would be we would give you login credentials to our website, and any determination that you would order through AccuSystems would also be populated to our website, so you could go in and search for existing determinations that have been made, and there's a button there that you would click to mark it as paid off if that's another option for you.
Okay.
Another question about this.
Yep, and then another question from a bank. How will this process work with recerts? So Doug, again, my understanding is this if they need to resubmit a request, is what that sounds like to me?
Yes. We do have the ability to do recertifications, and Dave, I'm not familiar if that option is within your integration, but recertification would be a case where they have a life of loan determination already in play, and at worst case, you could go again and to our website, search that certificate, and order a recertification of that certificate, and it does issue a completely separate and new certificate. For example, you may have a second lien that you're putting onto a piece of collateral that has a first on it already. You want the first lien certificate to stay in play, but you have a second lien now, so you want a separate certificate in play, and you can order it at a discounted price in that manner.
Okay. All right. So we'll wrap up the Q&A there. Again, if we have a pretty large list of questions that have been asked. We will try to get answers for all these questions and respond back to all the attendees that joined the webinar. So absolutely, we'll make sure that that happens. I do want to circle back, though, to the original question on what is the cost associated with AFR, our product. So currently, the actual retail price to AFR is going to be a $4,000 fee for the product itself, and then there's a $1,000 implementation fee for setup and install, and a $800 annual support fee with that. Currently at this time, we're offering this to the attendees of the webinar and for a short period of time, a $500 off the retail price. So the actual price currently will be $3,500 for the product. We are currently going to waive the setup and install fees, so we'll actually at no cost get this implemented at your bank if you choose to purchase the product. And then that basically equates to a total of $1,500 that you guys will save if you guys want to act on this special offer. And again, you guys can, we'll send a deck of slides out for everyone so you guys can take this back to the people at your bank, stakeholders, things like that. And again, our phone number that you can call for our sales department is going to be 1-800-950-2550. And you can email us at any time at sales@accusystem.com. In addition to that, if you're interested in anything that AFR has to offer, because they do have their flood certificate services and things like that, again, you can contact them at info@afrservices.com or call them at 1-800-995-8667. So I'm going to provide that to everyone as well. All right, so that concludes our webinar at this time. Again, for the questions and answers that we weren't able to cover, we will get answers for them, and we will send those, probably a fact sheet out to everybody that joined the webinar with answers and questions that came from all of our banks today. And Doug, I want to thank you and all the attendees for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
Not a problem.